All right. And Republic. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. All right. Off to work. Clear our ins and outs. And let's get to it. Okay, so I'm not in love with this camera placement. Let's see what we can do about that. I've seen worse.
Friends.
Okay, I do want to go a little higher on the contrast. And I might even want to try to sharpen a teensy bit if I can. Let's see what is available. I think we start with the sharpening, which is this little blur sharpen thing, and then we go from blur to sharpen. And I think the lower number is more sharp. Yep, that's fine. And I said I wanted more contrast. I don't think that was even it. I think it was just sharpen is what I wanted. Yeah, there we go. Much better. Okay. Now let's build this little guy. Okie dokie. Let's build him in here. Bee-da-boo-boo, boo-bee-da-boo. There we go. Okay, cool. Then, what does this look like? Sweet, okay. Keep it like it is. And voila. This might be a little awkward as the movie goes on because Nolan, I think, is a little bit like Michael Bay, where they like to switch aspect ratios depending on the shot. So sometimes you end up with inconsistent shots. So if I have it cropped for one type of shot, it won't translate to the other type. But we'll hope it just doesn't come up. That's the wrong button. Here we go. Oh yeah, I want 0.45. I actually just want a full 45 degrees. There we go. I want a negative 45 degrees actually. And then I want to invert. No, I just want to reduce the level. There we go. And something like that should get the job done. Okay, so that's that. Then we're going to add in this background. And they're going to merge like little homies. Okay, yep. So now copy paste those. Connect here. Give me a merge node. Right. Now, border width, this is going to be what, 0.03. And this one's going to be also 0.03. And then we're going to take this guy here, and we're going to give this thing a bit of a corner radius. Nope, I lied. We're going to take this guy and give him a little bit of corner radius. There we go. And that is our look for this guy. Then let's go ahead and shrink him down to 0.64, see how we like it. It's okay, probably a little small.
A lot of loyalty for a hired gun!
Okay. Perhaps he is wondering why you would threaten to throw him out of a plane or shoot a man before throwing him out of a plane. I will try to not go ham on the Bane voice. That's an easy thing to do. Alright. So, this is probably a little small. Let's try to bump this up to like a 0.7. Yep, that sounds better. Word. Wordness to the turdness. Okay. So, right, that's that. Now, next thing. Let's go ahead and duplicate the movie. Get rid of all this crap. All right. So the movie, let's think. So we need, I literally never remember how to do any of this crap. Transform. Feels right. Let's give that a shot. Transform. Now size. Yep. Let's build the size up until we have roughly the margins that we're going to want for the thingy. I think my monitor is going to die soon. I need to get some better monitors. What's up, Dave? Tom Hardy must have a thing for taking roles where large portions of his face are covered. Dark Knight, Dunkirk, Fury Road. Yeah, Fury Road's only towards like the very beginning, but I definitely have respect for actors who are not so, you know, they're not so vain that it's like, hey, this is the moneymaker. You got to make sure my face is in the thing the whole time. That was a big thing. I really, really gave mad props for, forgive me, I don't remember what the hell I'm doing. I'm trying to build a border. How the hell do I build these borders? I do something. But I gave a lot of props to Carl Urban for doing Dread and covering his face the whole time. That was awesome. What's up, Sean Bumstead? How the hell do okay, wait, hold on. All right, I think I got it. I think I take this and I add, yeah, there we go. Right. Okay, so this guy is going to have a corner radius like that. And then we're just going to get that guy out to like, I don't know, something like this. Yep. Seems right. Sure. No, it means width should be a little bit more so that they match better. Okay. I don't know. I think it's something like that. And then it should be a background over here. And a merge node at some point. Probably here. That feels relatively correct. So, yeah. So lately, in between recordings, when I'm like done and don't have any next thing to work on, I've been working on that role-playing game I was talking about a week ago or whatever. And yeah, making a lot of progress. It's been very interesting. I'm excited to see what it ends up feeling like. There's a lot of mechanics that I am probably over-engineering. What's up, Dom? But the idea and the trade-off is like trying to design them in such a way where they're easy to do the level 1 of, but there's a lot of depth if you want to go further in. So there's like just a lot of mastery to it. All right, now what? This is going to be an ellipses, an ellipse. Where did I get ellipses from? Is there a program that used to have it? Was it ellipsis or something like that? 0.25. That's probably wrong. That's wrong. Let's do 0.3 at least. 0.3. There we go. Sure. Okay. And then this guy right here. Get this combo. Also, I don't even know what that word means. All right, and then border width, let's go ahead and... Oh, wait, we decided. Border width should be the same as the other ones. Yeah, there we go. Okay, great. Now, let's go ahead and shrink this guy down. At least the size it was, but probably smaller. Let's do like a 0.8. Sure. It always looks small on the computer from here. All right, I think we're good. But when you blow it up, it looks normal size. What's the story genre for your card-based RPG? The story/genre is going to be kind of like an X-Files feel. In essence, you're going to be playing roughly the Men in Black. And, you know, be sent out on missions to investigate potential, what do you call them? Like, in essence, there's a wing of the Men in Black department that has... They're basically like Patriot acting everyone all the time. And they're just perma-hacked into, you know, systems that report, you know, odd sightings and things like that when people call in weird stations, and they have dummy places for people to, you know, report seeing oddities and stuff, and then they send you guys to go check them out and see, you know, check the veracity of what's going on. And part of the plan is the interesting. Is it my threshold that's weird? Oh, I don't know. I think I just leave the threshold. So I mean, yeah, that's kind of the major shtick idea of what will, you know, kind of be happening day to day. The plan for the... Okay, there we go. That's why everything looked weird. It seems like I may not need to booster too much, but we'll see. The big thing about the Men in Black is that, you know, obviously people know it mostly as like the Will Smith movie franchise, but you know, all you have to take away from the Men in Black franchise, if you want it to all of a sudden feel creepy, is the neuralizer. If there's no such thing as a neuralizer, all of a sudden the implications get really dark. You know, how do you maintain the whole illusion that there's no supernatural, there's no alien presence or anything like that with, you know, the entire society if you don't have the ability to use the flashy thingy to make people forget? Well, it means like your only options basically at that point are unpersoning people. And that okay, yeah, and that instantly makes that whole universe like a lot creepier. Shouldn't need to put... We'll do a limiter just in case. We'll do like a limiter. Just try to keep that nice and even. All right.
Around the place?
Yes, one or two.
I need an appointment at the hospital for my leg.
Love how like none of the lights are on in the house. Woo!
Cartilage in knees, elbows, or your shoulders.
Is that guy in Reno 911?
Scar tissue on your kidneys.
Yes, he is. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, with less camp humor, and the person of interest part, you're not quite as plugged into that. It's more of like just kind of a setting thing where that just is the explanation for how, you guys. So it's kind of like person of interest, but you just play John Caviezel kind of the whole time. We're not super duper interacting with that part of it, but that is basically just where the leads come from. So yeah, you're gonna have like the director who's gonna come down and give you the skinny on like, okay, so here's some leads on some things we need you to go check out, and then hopefully that gives your DM the opportunity to from there figure out how to turn that into what they want to turn it into, which will be their options will be that it's kind of a monster of the week feel maybe, and you guys just go and hunt cryptids, no big deal. Or it's like you look into something that seems kind of weird, maybe cryptid oriented, but then you find out that actually there's like this group that's trying to summon something from another portal, and then that turns into like a long campaign. So, I'm trying to do kind of the World of Darkness technique, where they give you a really well developed kind of world, and here's the organizations and obstacles and things that kind of exist in general in this world, but it's not so stifling that everyone's campaigns all just feel exactly the same, which is definitely a struggle on like the story part. Name, audio clips. You know what? Yeah, you nailed it. Hellboy is actually a very we've talked a lot about Hellboy. That's been a big part of the conversation. Because yeah, it has a great Hellboy feels very D&D-esque of like there's a party and everyone has like different skills that they bring to the table, and everyone also is a very like unique archetype in comparison to each other. So for instance, like Hellboy, they're all agents who have to go and like research or like look into paranormal stuff and deal with it, right? So Hellboy is kind of the version of that agent who would just be kind of a bruiser, and so that's going to be like one of the class archetypes. And then Abe Sapien is more of like the kind of scholarly guy who's going to be like, oh, I recognize these things, we're noticing these clues, so for our character, that's kind of like the scholarly guy who's going to be into researching, and we're adding this detective-y kind of character. He's more of the guy who's useful like in the crime scene. He can put the clues together. Movie focus. And then lastly is kind of the caster, which is like Liz, his girlfriend, and that person is a bit of a I want everyone to have a bit of a feel where it's like design it how you want, and give it the flavor to feel unique to how you specify want to have it. Most of the class and specialization options will have more to do with your desire to have a nice like starting point into the thing you want to do, but then from there you can kind of just buy the skills you want to design your guy. But the casters will probably be the most intense version of that, where they're going to have the least baseline identity, because it's really going to be heavily designed around like how you what spells you buy for them and what abilities you give them, etc. This is going to be reactor focus. And then also like Hellboy, you've got kind of the masquerade. People have to not know about demons and monsters and stuff, so that's a thing you have to always try to pay attention to, keep track of, is like, I need to do my mission, but it's not enough just to do my mission. I have to do my mission in such a way that I'm not audio clips, that I'm not also like letting everybody know that like, oh hey, by the way, demons and monsters and things exist, and aliens or whatever. So it's like an extra kind of complication for a role-playing game that like D&D wouldn't have as well. I mean, it could if you make it, but this is like baseline stuff that's like built into the system. Another example of that is like for item economy, a lot of this game is also just designed around things that I'm like annoyed with other game systems. So one of the things is with item economy. One of the things that annoys... Oh, shit. I did this all wrong. Oh, shit. All right, let's back up. Hold on. This is okay. Here, let me just... Okay. There we go. We're good. All right, I fucked this up. Here we go. Let's fix this real fast. So one of the things with item economy is that it's like doing the whole like roll to see if you find a bazaar, and the bazaar has a person who knows where to find... yuck root or whatever, like all that kind of stuff is so tedious. It's like this kind of, in between doing interesting things. It's like kind of the accounting part of the game, the like, okay, well now you guys, you got resources, so now let's spend some time going shopping, but it's not like interesting to do. So I'm trying to replace that system because you guys are coming, getting your missions from on high. The game plan would actually be that you have, in essence, kind of like Starfleet. You have this like economy built around your prestige within the company. When you're new, no one trusts you with cool gear, so it's going to be really hard to get a hold of like high-tech, rare items. But as you level up, they basically dip into their warehouse of wonderful items that they have confiscated over time, much like, the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark. Now we need audio clips. Here we go. So it's like you guys can try to get in there and finagle the Warehouse 13 guy to, basically offload gear that y'all can use. But it's going to come with like, how are you performing your missions? Are you succeeding? As well as, are you returning gear? That's going to be one of the parts of like the economy, or like the prestige thing, is like he's going to value you returning gear that he's lent out to you. So that means that there's like another big kind of hiccup in the missions, is like, how much are you going to value like treating items like a single use item, or having to like use it and then come back and make sure that you grab that thing again on the way out. It's like, yeah, that may not always be feasible. And then how hard are you willing to try to like make that happen? Stuff like that. I think that could be a really fun little extra hiccup on like every mission that you're doing. Used to play Call of Cthulhu, which was sort of a paranormal investigation. Absolutely right. Yeah, pretty fun and spooky. Love that genre. I absolutely agree. I definitely want to have kind of what's the word? Like X-Files meets Lovecraft, which like X-Files can be. So I don't want to go too heavy on it. On like the Lovecraft angle, because then it kind of can be stifling in that direction. Maybe that's not exactly where you always need to go, but I'm definitely doing or I'm pulling a lot of influence from that feel, because I love the like, what I want to capture that I think Lovecraft captured really well was the feeling that there are, old dangerous things happening, just under our feet, and they've been around forever, and it's kind of like this sleeping giant, and there's a very, very tenuous piece, kind of being, not brokered, like there's no like, top-down brokering design, but there's like this, the tide of chaos is being kept at bay with a broom, and it just at any moment could, go awry. So the stakes feel very high, and it feels very like, our entire way of life could end in a moment. And that feeling that like the good guys also kind of feel like bad guys. It's like, we wish they didn't have to do things how they do, but they kind of have to do them. We can't really think of any other way that you could do them, So yeah, like I've been using a lot of AI generated. I've been using Midjourney to make art that I plan to use for like the the system, or for like the player handbook that I'm like slowly working on. It's like basically what I'm doing is like there's sections that we're putting in as like design notes, and then kind of going back over with more passes to try to like make it sound more like rules and how it actually works. And we're getting there. It's we need to do some alpha testing. We were going to do it this week, but like 3 people got sick. So it gives me another week to try to nail down some stuff, because I'm also working on just like, I'm way overcomplicating a lot of our systems, but I'm trying to do them in a way where it doesn't actually make the game like too complicated to play. It's kind of a choose your own complication level. Like if you want to interact with it in a deep way, you can, but if you want to interact with it in just like base level, just really simply, then you also can. So that's kind of what I'm going for. Like, for instance, I think magic systems are generally kind of boring in most role-playing games. They're very, like, pass or fail. So I'm trying to do, like, a build-your-own spell idea. So rather than having, like, a list of spells, it's more like a list of effects that a spell could have, and then you can, like, jam them together and kind of build your own spell out of them. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I keep hearing about Midjourney being super addicting. I mean, like, I agree. I agree that it's addicting on like the level of like, oh yeah, like this game's really fun. It's super addicting. But no, I mean, I've been hearing about people who had to. One of the guys on Corridor Crew or not on Corridor Crew, but I think it was one of the, I think it was Joe Panna is who I think it was. I think he went on Corridor Crew's podcast and he said that he knew somebody who like had to go to like rehab because of Stable Diffusion. And I was like, damn. Goddamn. That's intense. That's very intense. But on the flip side too, they were using it differently than I am. Like I'm using it to try to like produce something for me, and they were trying to use it to they wanted to be kind of like the forefront in this technology because they think that there's probably some very massive implications for like business, you know, in the future. Like the first people who really nail this stuff down are probably going to have a nice grandfathered early corner of a market that is burgeoning. And I'm already seeing this kind of stuff on my Facebook feed, which is crazy. Half the subreddits I follow that were art related of any type, I'm seeing a bunch of generated stuff now. It's really shocking how fast it's like being implemented into just my normal life. So this would just be called like, I don't know, scene clips or something. I'm doing this right? I think I'm doing this right. Or I guess I'll just call it like multicam. I think it's already going to call it multicam thing, but I don't know. Multiple camera. Oh, I am doing it wrong. That's why. Okay, that's why it didn't feel right. I don't do it like that. I take reactor focus and I take movie focus and I combine those. That's how I do it. There we go. I was doing that wrong for like a couple reactions straight. It took me a minute to remember that. Like, oh wait, that's why it feels weird. You don't do it like that at all. It's not anymore. It's never been like that.
All right.
Okay, cool. So that's that, and then I press 2 and I get that. Yeah. Except that's backwards. Let's fix that real fast. But yeah, the AI stuff, it's fascinating because I mean, one of the big things to think about is like, you know, you ask yourself, what's the difference between a picture and a moving picture? It's just a bunch of individual pictures that are played at 24 frames a second, you know, potentially. So it's really interesting because it makes you when you think of it that way, it's like there's not that massive of a gulf between what the stuff is doing now and it getting to a place where it can start doing it with video. And if we can do this with video, it's already cool with photos, but like there's some crazy stuff you'll be able to do with video. Like if we can do it with video, then we're really talking about people starting to just make movies in their basement. I mean, straight up, man. All this like stuff I've been wanting to make, like theoretically just be like, yeah, nah, dude, I'm just making movies out of CG completely. Like it's really interesting. It's very, very interesting. Some AI image generators are tackling video now with interesting results. I believe it. I absolutely believe it. Anything that I could think of, I'm sure someone is like currently literally working on it. We talked about it with something else. I forgot what it was. There were some guys who were using it in an interesting kind of way. Corridor Crew, those guys. I didn't see the behind the scenes, but I saw their video. They tried to make their own kind of like short based around Into the Spider-Verse. And what they did was they what's the word I'm looking for? They what I think they did, that's a better way to put it. My assumption, because like I said, I didn't see their behind the scenes. It looks like what they ended up doing is they used the AI to generate like in the style of Into the Spider-Verse. What do you call it? Like Tom Holland's version of Peter Parker for stills. But then what they did is they used deepfake. I forgot what deepfake system I was using, but you know, they used some deepfake system to like then try to map, I believe, like that face with over their face, or maybe they used something else. I guess deepfake would need like more video, so it wouldn't really be deepfake, but it would be something where they were using that to kind of like map. And then what they did is they like used green screen. They basically like acted out the scenes they wanted, but then had it kind of, you know, change their face to look like so-and-so. And then that's how they were kind of using all of these things together. It was just really, really creative and really interesting. The result left a lot to be desired, but that's okay. It's just cool to see people even thinking in these terms at all. So I'm very interested. Like, I feel like that's the kind of thing I will want to spend my time on as well. Is like, okay, let's really think about this crap. Like, how do we, you know, how do we turn this into something usable? how can I come up with like some kind of use case, I guess.
Long time before some of the spires. That man is a freaking G.
I mean, that's even this role-playing game, like being able to just like generate art for it so I can have something that just looks like finished for free. Like, I definitely am not underestimating how cool that is. So I want this one to be the fast zoom. I think that's right.
Long time before some of the spires. That man is a freaking G.
Barely notice it, but that's okay. Yeah, I'm very it's very interesting to see just how fast it all feels relevant. You know, it's the kind of thing that when I first heard about it, I was like, "Oh yeah, that'll be really interesting in a year." No, it's been like a month and it's already like really interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, yeah, I'm very, very, very curious. I will be paying close attention to the progress on all this stuff. I'm like keeping up with the versions. The only problem I'm having right now is I had a plan that Mid-Journey, for anyone who knows or cares, it has a really hard time with like faces and hands. And also, sometimes you find yourself in a spot where you're like, oh, well, I really like 90% of this image. It's mostly there, but we're just missing a little bit of something here and there. Or like, I don't like your idea of like what weapon he's holding or something. Can we have something else?
Long time before some of the spires. That man is a freaking G.
Okay, so I think, sorry, forgive me, I'm distracted, but I need to, here we go. I'll finish the story in a second. So what happens is you're like, okay, well, I really wish that this thing was a little bit different, but I don't want to regenerate an entirely new image, you know, like a new seed. So what I was hoping I could do is use like Dolly 2 and its eraser tool to like fix stuff. Not so much. Dolly just basically is a worse artist than Midjourney is. So it can't fix things because it can't match the art style to the rest of the art. But I've only really tried it on a couple of images, so maybe I just should try a few different ones. But if there's any that I'm failing on, then it means that I can't rely on it because it will fail on ones I need it to not fail on. So I have major concerns. What about you, Dave? What do you, I mean, I bet you guys got some really fucking interesting takes on this stuff. We should chat about this stuff soon. That'd be a great conversation. This is like, it's not every day that you have like a really cutting edge technology to discuss.
I believed in Harvey. Dent.
I think the last thing was basically deepfake stuff, and that's already been a few years. And before that, I couldn't even tell you. I mean, it's like most changes in this field are very like incremental. It's like, here's a system that does the thing that we kind of already do, but a little bit better. This is something that's quite novel. And it's novel, I mean, like, it's the kind of thing I would have said we were so far away from, like, just absolutely ridiculous that we would be doing the stuff that we're doing right now. The fact that I can just be like, hey, man, give me XYZ thing, here's a reference image, and do it in the style of, what do you call it? Do it in the style of Simon Stalenhag is shocking. Like, just absolutely insane. Yeah, the VFX community is definitely split on the AI topic. Dan and I both see it as a positive, just another tool in the toolkit. Great for high concept and getting ideas roughed out. I absolutely agree. I think one thing that's really, well, yeah, as far as like being worried about they're taking our jobs, like, I don't know. I can't really talk about that because it's just not a concern for me. So I feel like it's just a super unfair thing for me to have an opinion on. If it was a thing that I had to worry about, then yeah. Because I will say, as much as I do hear a lot of people saying, don't worry, it's not coming for your job. It's just a tool. It's not really going to be an issue as far as that's concerned. I do have to admit, though, that like I am making art that I would have had to commission. And rather than paying someone, I am using this art. So, like, someone didn't get paid off of what I'm doing. But having said that, I do also believe that as it stands today, it's not good enough to, generally speaking, replace a lot of people's jobs, for sure. But I also see that for how good it is right now, it seems like it could maybe get good enough where it takes a lot of, like, if you have like a lead designer and then a bunch of like designers under that guy, I could imagine some of those designers under that guy in the future losing their jobs. But I also can imagine like the speed at which this stuff works is so blisteringly fast. That's another thing. Like, even if I was commissioning the stuff I'm working on, iterations would cost me, more money. Oh, how funny. This guy played,
Bad guy.
he played Thomas Wayne in the Batman, or I'm sorry, in Joker. I forgot about that. But on top of that, it's also like, the turnaround would be so much longer. It would take me like a week to hear back from these guys and to, get the art and everything all figured out. I can just do it so fast. It's really shocking. I don't know. It's very, very, very interesting. There's a lot of moving parts to it. And I definitely think also, even if you're not just looking at like the AI generated, this aspect of it, it'll be interesting to see in the future, like, not even in the future, even today, I'm already thinking, like I said, I was already talking about trying to use like Midjourney for the initial generation, but then switching to like DALL-E 2 for the fixing pieces of it. I think there's probably some really crazy stuff that you can do right now if you were to combine like 5 different technologies that are kind of all bustling at the same time. And I'm telling you, man, I do not think it is preposterous that there is a future out there where there's like a guy by himself in his room making a whole just like CG movie, you know what I'm saying? I mean, maybe not even CG. That's the thing too. A lot of the stills are so close to like actually photorealistic. Like, one of my favorite, let me show you one of my favorite images I've seen recently. It was like, this guy was cracking me up on the Discord. When I first started, you're in like the noob Discord, and you have to, all your stuff is like public. Everyone can see it like right away. Everyone can see my stuff now, but you got to go somewhere for it, right? There, everyone's just posting in the same chat room. And it was like so funny watching this guy who kept posting these images. Yeah, here we go. It's so good. He kept posting, he's like, show me production behind the scenes shots of Terry Gilliam's 1985 Mega Man. Like, he kept having like Terry Gilliam making like Fast and the Furious, or like making a Mega Man movie. Like, but it's kind of shocking how like photorealistic it can get. And so, I mean, like I said, it's like making a CG movie, but to an extent, as it gets better, it may be able to just make a movie that looks live action. Most people don't see it as anything for use as final art. I agree, but that's today. I mean, it still is such a fledgling technology. Like, it's still brand new. But great for concept art, conversion starters, or conversation starters. But yeah, in time, it might be more of a job threat in 4 years. I agree. I absolutely agree. And I would also say that, like, if you're saying 4, then like maybe it's 2, because I also feel like the stuff always moves faster than you think it's going to. It always either turns into nothing or it moves faster than you think it was going to. The other thing is, I think it's also very cool as a tool for those who care to do it. It will be cool for communication between the artist and the client. For any client who is interested in doing it, they can learn just enough where they can really kind of get their idea across and be like, hey, give me something kind of like this. Now can you go and actually make the real version, you know, that has fingers that work? I will say the biggest thing that keeps it currently, you know, from being a actual final product, you know, option for most people is that you cannot make something that looks exactly perfectly what you planned on, right? Having said that, though, you already can't do that with an artist if you're a client who isn't the artist. The artist can do that to an extent, but the client really can't. It's always collaborative. You're always telling them, you know, what you want, and then they're interpreting, and you guys are kind of landing somewhere in the middle where you're like, okay, that's close enough to what I wanted. Like, you mostly get it, and that looks really good, so we're good. Well, that's how it feels with Midjourney. It feels like you're in a collaborative relationship with it, where you're kind of like, okay, give me something like this, and well, now like this, and you're communicating back and forth with this thing, and it's going, you mean this? And you're like, it's almost what I mean, and then eventually land on something that you go, okay, close enough. So it's really interesting. What's up, Cosmo? But yeah, I would not, you know, take anyone seriously who was talking about using it for final art, except for in, like, again, my project, I can probably use it for final art, honestly. It's a role-playing game. I don't need hyper-specific art. I need evocative art. So, it's like, if I find things that are close and just give the mood of what I'm looking for, then generally speaking, they work. Well, like a second ago when I was showing my Google Doc for the thing, right? Like, yeah, that first image here, this was like, imagine Gary Oldman with like robot eyes, as a detective, you know, art style, you know, like, Simon Stalenhag, nighttime raining, whatever. Like, I can just use this. Like, this will just be the final art. This is going in my thing. Like, I did not interpret the eyes to look the way that they came up with. I think they're going for like a Terminator thing. I asked for Gary Oldman. They gave me whoever this guy is, but you know what? This guy is copyright free, so sure. And it gave me a bunch of images, and the guy also looks quite consistent, so it's very interesting. Cosmo, I'm talking about a role-playing game I'm working on, but we're talking mostly about AI-generated art. Okay. All right. So...
Dude, wild.
All right, I guess we're here. Now it's just the part of the exceedingly long movie about a man who dresses like a bat, and for some reason needs to be as long as... What does that sound? Give me a second. Oh, it's probably because I have my... I can hear myself. But yeah, it needs to be as long as Braveheart for some reason. Ariana's coming to record again today, but what time? And did we discuss what time you're coming over today? All right, let's get to it. There we go. What's Ariana watching? I do not remember. I think maybe Prisoners. I kind of want to test out if, because Sicario, maybe some of the Denis Villeneuve crowd will show up. I'm hoping. But I think she had another idea that was actually pretty good. I don't remember what it was, though. We're kind of trying to, like, hit a handful of ideas before, you know, skipping straight to, like, Mission Impossible, you know? Okay.
Crank up the volume. My favorite Batman line. I'm glad we're watching this now, because my favorite, like, one of the things that I say all the time now.
All right, let's think.
Line. I'm glad we're watching this. This now, because now.
That is a funny face to use. We'll do that, move that here, and then let's do this intro actually real quick. There's definitely a trick to getting the AI to do what you want using precisely worded text prompts. Yeah, it's definitely, I agree. I think that there's like a trick. I don't have it exactly, but it's close. there's a lot of like, yeah, working out like, oh, these prompts seem to do pretty well. Ooh, these ones seem to do pretty well. The other thing is that the AI is changing all the time too. So it's like, I was messing around and it took me a minute before I tried out version 4. And oh my God, like the results in version 4 are shockingly different than version 3. Okay, let's go grab this stuff. But it's exciting. It's definitely a lot of fun. I will not disagree with that for sure. Channel stuff. Ariana. No, I'm talking about Ariana, so I'm just assuming. I need the maple super. Yeah, she brought up another movie last night. Forgive me, I just cannot for the life of me remember what it was. Or not last night, whatever day she came to record. All my days, I live in like this Kafka-esque nightmare. Every day is the same. If scheduling wasn't an issue, I'd say try TV shows like Game of Thrones, True Detective. Yeah, well, I don't know. You're saying that the movie model isn't sustainable, but like Popcorn in Bed just did like record numbers this last month, so I'm not so sure it's the movie model that's the issue. But as far as shows go, the problem is it's just the amount you need to record. I was showing Ariana like people that I've been watching recently, the React Pack, and they do pretty much exclusively shows. And yeah, she was like, God, do they just like, you know, and do this full time? And it's like, that's the problem. That's kind of what's hard about YouTube, is that it's like, it rewards you putting a full-time amount of effort into it. But it's like, you kind of have to, it's this thing, it's always that like cart horse. Yeah, maybe that's the wrong word, but you know, it's this issue, it's the conundrum, the paradox of like, I need a car so I can get to work, but I need to have a job so I can pay, so I can have a car so I can get to work. So it's like, you know, how do you work that out? And you know, what do you call it? So yeah, if like Ariana and Maple had nothing else to do aside from just watch TV shows with me, or with me, you know, just here, because all the gear is here. That'd be another thing that'd be nice, is like if they had the gear there and they could just do it at their house. Then yeah, then TV shows wouldn't be too hard. But like as it is, you know, you guys know, like we have a hard time, you know, having a consistent schedule with YouTube, or I'm sorry, with movies, like just once a week movies. So yeah, like how much more kind of crazy is it to be like, okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna watch like, you know, these seasons and seasons of shows. Although having said that too, though, dude, I have seen so many channels that do shows and their freaking show turnout is awful. You know, like their per episode turnout is terrible. And then you find yourself where you're like seasons into some show and you're getting like 2,000 views a video, but you can't really like stop the show. Everyone's gonna riot. So it's like, I don't know, dude. Reaction content in general is just such a crapshoot. It's so hard, dude. I mean, boo fucking who, for sure. So like, don't listen to me, you know, crying about it. But it's just like, it is, I'm a very analytical thinker. I'm the kind of person who wants to problem solve and figure out like, okay, here's the thing. Here's what I need to do. And I am finding myself struggling in that area with this niche. It feels very enigmatic for me. For some reason, I just can't crack the code on it. It's not even just that. It's like YouTube in general. Like I started the second channel, and I had a bunch of people who, you know, from vidIQ, like review my videos and tell me what they thought about them and what to fix. And then I fixed those things. And then like I had another guy paid to like go and, you know, review my stuff so he could tell me what to do. And we had like a meeting and stuff. We walked through all of it. And he's like, yeah, this is great. I think it's going to do really well. Like I really like your stuff. I think it's good. And then I post the stuff on the new channel. And he's like, yeah, for instance, like, you know, with new channels, YouTube actually kind of gives you a little bit of a boost right away because they don't know who your audience is. So they're going to try and, you know, find your audience. So they're going to send it to more people than they normally do, you know, initially just to kind of get past that initial hump. And I posted both the videos. I scheduled them. I posted them like one a day, 2 days in a row. And you'd never believe it. They got 1 view each. So it's just like, okay, what do I do with that? Like, I don't even have any metrics to try to read data from. If I had like, you know, I don't know, a few hundred, I could find out like what went wrong and like where people were giving up on the video. But it's like, I don't even have any metrics to know what I did wrong because there's the algorithm said, I think I'm going to send this to 0 people. How about that? You know? So it's like, okay, well, so, you know, my complaining is not, oh, my life is hard. It's just like, I'm trying to solve a puzzle and I just cannot figure it out. Beginning to realize the movement models. So, White Lotus. I don't know what you mean by White Lotus, RYN. Talking about the TV show? Yeah, Centella is doing White Lotus, but he doesn't have a Patreon. I think that if you're the TV show people, I think a Patreon is actually probably the shtick. I have noticed that. And by the way, welcome to the chat. Seriously, sir, good to have you. I have noticed that a lot of people who do shows mostly, nearly exclusively, they tend to have viewership that's not that impressive, but their Patreons are awesome. And it makes perfect sense. What's happening is they are, they're like weeks ahead. They're like 5-6 episodes ahead on Patreon. So if you want to see like what happens next because you caught up, you're like, oh, well, shit. You know, I have to wait a week, or I could pay $5 and hop on Patreon and see it right now. It happens to me all the time. Like everyone I ever follow on Patreon, it's that's like the only reason I ever do it is because it's like, oh, I'm watching someone watch The Boys, and on YouTube they're only caught up to like episode 2 of episode, you know, I don't know, 5 of season 2. And on Patreon, they're on season 2, episode, you know, 6 or whatever. So it's like, okay, well, I could watch that right now. And then I end up doing that and voila. So I notice sometimes, yeah, those guys have like sick Patreons for sure. Okay. So I think these are my images. So what screenshot did you take? I will show you.
This now.
It's just the intro here. This isn't for the thumbnail.
I'm glad we're watching this now.
Cool. All right. Yeah. Maple, you'll see what I'm doing in a second. Yeah, that's why I said if scheduling wasn't an issue. Well, right, but like, okay, so fair enough. I was thinking of scheduling differently than you were. Like, when I think scheduling, I think like days that you can shoot. But it's less of like a day. It's more about just like time. They have to put so much time into watching a bunch of episodes of a show. Where are we? So I need to just send all of these one at a time. Right, it's what your audience and following wants. Let's see. Wait, where's the vid? Or rather, what's the channel? Oh, the channel is What Went Wrong. You will not be able to find it because if you have a really small channel like that, YouTube will not populate it when you try to search for it. But the videos are videos you've seen. I took the What Went Wrong format and I took them off. Well, they're on this channel, but they're hidden. And I ripped them and then re-uploaded them on a different channel because I wanted to give them a fair shake with an audience that wasn't disappointed that they were seeing content that wasn't a reaction video with the girls. You know, our reaction crowd here, our crowd in general here is here because they want to see reaction videos with Ariana and Maple. So every time I post something different, it's always like, what the fuck is this? So I wanted to try to post them somewhere where no one's going to have that knee-jerk reaction of what the fuck is this. But it didn't matter because YouTube was like, nah, I don't want to send this to anybody. No one needs to watch this. I guess what's called 1. Okay. Yep. Let's do this as 2. Same spot. Jazz study music. Pretty sure this channel is called, yeah, it's called Lo-Fi Hip Hop Radio. Well, it's called Lo-Fi Girl, and the video that never ends is called Lo-Fi Hip Hop Radio. I would argue this is neither hip hop nor lo-fi. Yeah, I don't know. I want to do Prisoners, but now I'm worried about doing Prisoners. I feel like Prisoners is actually probably going to perform really crappy. Like, has anyone else ever had a good Prisoners video? Oh, you know what's been really annoying the shit out of me lately? God of War Ragnarok, it's got better writing than, like, any Marvel movie I've ever seen. It is so frustrating to, like, see a video game that has substantially better writing than most movies, because you're just like, these guys don't have to write super duper compelling you know, they don't have to write super compelling movies, or I'm sorry, stories, because video games have something that movies don't, which is like they can just be fun to play. So you can have a game like Doom, which basically has a story that everyone ignores, and that's fine because it's fun to play, and that's really the value proposition for a video game. But then you get a game like, you know, freaking Thor Ragnarok, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, like, wait, that's Alana Pierce? Wow, she looks so different. Interesting. Wow, she looks way different at that angle. You know, but what happens is, oh, wow, and she, 2 hours ago, 6,000 views or whatever. She has 590,000 subs, damn. But yeah, then you just play this game, and it's like, oh my god, the acting is incredible. The fucking writing is incredible. It's just, you know, it's like a 10-hour experience. If you could cut it down to 2 hours, which you easily could, because the movie wouldn't have you guys running around fighting endless swarms of monsters, it would be an awesome movie, like, right away. 3 months ago, 47,000 views. Roughly in our wheelhouse of channel size. James vs. Cinema, 99,000 views, but 2 years ago. Also, roughly... what? I forgot. He has 99, I have 89. So yeah. Roughly in our size. Basically, like, Just Trust Ash has like 10,000 subs less than we do, and then James has about, oh, subs wise, right. So I was looking at views. Yeah. So he's got like 20 more than we do. So that's a big jump. I don't know. That's tough. Popcorn only got 88,000 a year ago. Lately, I mean, she gets 88,000 in a week these days. Like, if she had covered this now, I think she actually probably would have done quite well with it. They are blowing up lately, like blowing up. Their stuff is killing. Ariana and I were just looking at their channel 2 days ago, and it was just like, God, like 83,000 views on The Natural in 2 weeks is insane. Like, they are killing it. 2 days ago, Jerry Maguire. I mean, these are movies that people just don't care about, dude. And like, they're crushing. So good for them. But I don't know. Prisoners is probably a bad idea, so we'll probably do something else. I've seen some good Prisoners videos, but I can't remember them off the top of my head. Well, it's not about them being good. It's about how they performed. I mean, the movie's incredible, so I'm not worried about like the reaction being bad. I think it would be an awesome reaction that nobody would watch. It's like exactly the type of movie that Ariana would really love. And it is just a very, very, very objectively great movie. You know, she really liked Sicario and noticed a lot of why Sicario was good. I think she would have the same experience with this, but it's really just a matter of like, if we covered it, would anyone care? And I just don't think they would. That's the problem. All right, how does this thing work? Right.
No. No.
Cool. And that wants to be there. And then this wants to be... Okay, we're good. Okay, yep, that wants to be here. Yeah, I also don't think Prisoners perform well. I agree. Let's be real. They'll make a show about God of War in a couple years on Apple. Yeah, they'll make a show about God of War like the second everyone doesn't care about the franchise anymore. It's always how they do it. It's always just like, man, that thing was huge 3 years ago. Remember when there was a bunch of hubbub about that? Okay, great. Yeah, now let's make a show. And everyone will be like, huh? It's the same thing with like Halo. Like, who was out there clamoring for a Halo show? I know a bunch of people that like around the time that Halo 3 came out would have thought a Halo show would have been awesome. But like now it's like, God, it's like just such a dead franchise. No one cares. I mean, it's like I'm sure there's like a very highly loyal small base of people. But like there was a point when Halo was like a cultural touchstone. I always say that, you know, Halo was instrumental in the connecting force that kind of took place between the jock and the nerd, because it was like everyone played Halo. And it happened with, you know, there was other games too. It also was like things like Call of Duty and stuff like that. But it was just like, you know, Halo brought, you know, all these people together, because it was like, yeah, it wasn't nerdy anymore to play video games. That wasn't just for nerds anymore. There's a lot of young people who would like, I think, be very, very surprised to hear that, like, yeah, playing video games used to be kind of like, you know, uncool and like weird. And it wasn't like just a perfectly normal thing that everybody did, you know? Popcorn in Bed does well because even mom subscribed there. I mean, fair enough. So I don't think I agree. Ariana would love Prisoners and True Detective Season 1. She's already seen True Detective Season 1 and she did love it.
No.
Okay, good enough. So let's desaturate this. What up, Adil Shaki? Last of Us is an interesting show because at least for season 1, it's basically the step-by-step first game. I think that is probably the best thing you can possibly do, especially if you're making something kind of cynical like that. But same thing, right? It takes so long to make a show. It's really hard to catch things in their stride. How am I? I am the same as always. How are you, Adil? But it is really hard to catch things on like their stride. It's very when the first, you know, video game did well, they didn't want to make a show like right after that. That's what happens when you ask it, because that picture's the movie Jim Henson, H.R. Geiger created. Yeah, exactly right. This stuff is so funny. Then like the second game comes out and had kind of a medium response, and then they finally make a show after the second game's already old. Like, that's what I mean. Every time they do that, you're always like, oh yeah, I remember Last of Us. Remember when everyone, like, remember that year everybody was going crazy about The Last of Us, and now it's over, and then that's when you're gonna get your show. Yeah, I want to see this movie too. Dave. Yeah. Jim Henson, H.R. Geiger combo is a dream combo. I mean, it's not like someone couldn't do this. There's also like really a big quality about the camera. It probably is just my, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, it's just nostalgia. But like a Jim Henson puppet doesn't look correct to me unless it also is in like from an old crappy 80s camera as well. Like, I don't want to see Labyrinth, you know, shot on a red. I want to see it shot with whatever the hell they were using back then. There's something about how those cameras captured light, and that they were kind of diffuse and stuff like that. There was just something very, very, it feels right. It feels like that's how it should look. And that's probably just nostalgia speaking. You know, I'm sure they just tried to make it look as good as they could, but it happened to have a very, very distinct, you know, style about it, and then that whole style all together ended up feeling like the product. Like that was a part of it. It's, you know, so when they do like remakes of things like the Dark Crystal or whatever, it's not that it's bad, it just doesn't feel correct. It feels like, well, that's not what it's supposed to look like. There's something wrong. All right, I think that's pretty much all she wrote.
I'm glad we're watching this now. Because my
just gotta pay attention, make sure I don't get any copyright issues.
Because my favorite, like, one of the things that I say all the time now is when Batman catches on fire.
Okay, hold on, wait. All right, how do we handle this scene that she's describing?
Because my favorite, like, what? Because my favorite, like,
it really doesn't like scrubbing right after it was playing. That bothers it.
Like, one of the things that I say all the time now is when Batman catches on fire, and it's like he doesn't have to be using his voice anymore, but he calls Alfred. And he's like, Alfred! It's like, Alfred! Help me! Is when Batman catches on fire, and it's like he doesn't. Is when when Batman catches on fire, and it's like he doesn't have to be using his voice anymore, but he calls Alfred. Alfred. Help!
I'm going to rearrange this to make it feel more like the structure of a joke, kind of. Maybe not a joke, but kind of like do some pacing edits on it, in essence. So let's see how this feels. And then we'll do like a kind of a start from here. No, that's wrong. Okay, so here we go. Let's try something out. Batman voice always takes me out. Yeah, I agree. It's pretty rough. It is pretty rough. The movies probably get almost like a half a letter grade better if we don't have Batman voice.
I'm glad we're watching this now. Because like, one of the things that I say all the time now, Alfred! When Batman catches on fire, and it's like he doesn't have to be using his voice anymore, but he calls Alfred. Help me.
There we go. So that's kind of the structure I want. The Bale voice degrades across the trilogy. I absolutely agree. Well, Kevin Smith put it perfectly. I wonder if I can find... There's no way I'm going to find the clip. It's like endless hours of Kevin Smith talking about Batman. But like, let's see. Kevin Smith on Batman voice. He put it perfectly. He's like, he in the first movie, he's not doing a whole lot of screaming right away. So there's a possibility that depending on what scenes they shot, that he was kind of trying out that kind of, you know, when he's talking like this and it's kind of this gruff Batman voice that he has to do. And it kind of works when he's talking really, you know, low and is whatever, right? But then what happens is later in the movie, they got all these scenes now where he's like screaming, where are the other drugs at? Or, you know, it's people who want to believe in good. That's right. That's the second movie. So what happens is like, yeah, the degradation comes from like him having to use that voice now in places where it feels really inappropriate, but he's kind of like committed at this point. So it's like, it's a fucking problem. It's like really like, oh shit, what do we do about that? Like, uh-oh.
Cause like one of the things that I say all the time.
Yeah, they should have flipped it so he has to put on a weird high smooth voice for Bruce Wayne. Yeah, there you go. Exactly right. What's up, Daniel Throne? Good to have you, man. Good to have you. We were just talking about you know, AI generated art a second ago, and your name came up. Oh, I thought this wasn't happening. What changed your mind? What changed my mind was I'm trying to close up some loose ends that we have on some trilogies. So like we had, not trilogies, I guess, just like some franchises. Like we did Terminator 1 and Terminator 2, and I realized that like, well, you know, we've got the Dark Knight trilogy we haven't finished, and we got Alien, like we can do Aliens. I feel like there was something else in there that I don't remember, but maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, that's what changed my mind. Is I was just like, let's close up some of the gaps that we have going on, at least for the movies that are like, you know, like I don't like this movie, but it's not like, you know, it's not as big of a miss as like Alien 3, you know, or, you know, Predator 2 and stuff like that. So it's like we might as well just get this one finished up. And blah, blah, do, 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 do. So I was in that. So, how do you feel about AI taking your job? So the craziest thing is Batman is the best superhero to make a Joker / Logan type of grounded movie, but never have, in my honest opinion. You're saying Batman's the best one. I guess, okay, all right, I see what you mean. You're saying because Joker doesn't have Batman. Man, that's interesting. That's really interesting. My issue with Batman is I really don't feel like Batman is the reason that the franchise is good. I think it really is because of the Rogues Gallery. I think you can do a Joker type of movie with a Batman, but I wouldn't want to only be hanging out with Batman like Joker only hangs out with Joker. I really would want to have a nice back and forth between, like, you know, Joker and Batman. You know what I think would be a fun idea? Hollywood doesn't have the balls for this, but maybe when AI generated art allows me to start making movies in my basement, I would love to see like a movie that was like a Joker movie. It's all from his perspective, but Batman is like a pretty heavy influence in the movie. We just never spend time with him. Have the movie where the POV almost feels like Batman's the villain. Like Joker's a villain, Batman's a hero, but our protagonist is the Joker and Batman is the antagonist. So we're not really hanging out with Batman, but we're seeing him from the perspective of how villains see Batman as this like horrifying, like a horror movie, right? Like think about the first time you meet Batman in the Justice League. No, in Batman versus Superman. That version of Batman, that's like a really cool idea of Batman feeling like this really creepy, almost like a horror monster or something like that. That'd be a lot of fun. Kevin Conroy got it right by just doing a powerful deep voice instead of adding the gruff factor. The big man, I could not agree with you more. I think Kevin Conroy may have, and I'm not just like kissing his ass because he died. Like I literally think that he probably is like, he figured it out. He did it the best.
Because like one of the things that I say all the time now. Oh, Alfred! Alfred! When help me. May.
Yeah, that's the idea. All right, so when are you going to edit MCU face for TV shows and movies? I will edit them when they get watched, but they have not been watched yet, so I can't edit them. They don't exist. Blah, blah, blah. Hi, AI can have the VFX industry. It's welcome to it. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. This one's still good. I think the problem is TDK was so near perfect that everyone compares it to it instead of seeing how well they were still able to pivot away from the Joker arc completely. So, Steve, I disagree. All the issues I have with this movie have nothing to do with the Joker movie. There are issues within this film. I think that when you have to have the National Guard show up, we are now past like a Batman level threat. And now feels like we are in a Superman territory. Nuclear bombs are above Batman's pay grade. Batman is perfect for like anything Daredevil is dealing with is perfect for Batman. It should be like, oh no, Fisk, is gonna corrupt the fucking art market or whatever, and is corrupt, and he paid off the politicians, and he's gonna, siphon money away from the boys and girls school and use it, to buy himself a jet ski. I've got to stop him. Like that's good Batman stuff. I gotta, the first movie, right? Where are the other drugs at? Like they're using the fucking crates and they're moving the drugs and they're gonna make everyone crazy, whatever kind of thing. Like that's all I can get with that stuff. At night, running around punching goons, but like when it becomes this thing where like the National Guard is all here, half the movie takes place during the day, like call the Avengers. So that's one of the major issues I have with the movie. The other major issues I have with the movie, Bane is set up quite well and then ends up just being a like lovesick simp. I think that was a massive L and really like kills the mood of the movie for me, because from then on I'm like, oh, well, okay, fine, I don't care, because Talia al Ghul, they haven't done anything with her. It's not her fault that she's uninteresting and I don't care. And I don't find her compelling. They purposely, didn't do anything with her because she's supposed to be, you're not supposed to know. So now it's like, yeah, the guy that feels like the real, thrust of this movie is gone. I also don't love Batman has to become Batman again twice. In the beginning of the movie, it's like, well, ever since the Joker, I've been gone. I don't have, what if it doesn't exist anymore? What if I'm not Batman anymore? What if I've lost my mojo? And then, Gordon is like, he must. Well, okay, so we get a little montage of him becoming Batman again. He goes and puts his little leg brace on and he has his little montage and he kind of, Stella gets her groove back and he becomes Batman. Of course, he later gets his back broken. He goes to prison and we just go through the whole cycle again. Now he has to like do the training montage again and he has to become Batman again. And it's like, what is this? Like it's just basic story structure stuff. And it's things that get lost because this movie is 3 fucking hours long. There's just no reason that a movie about a man who dresses like a bat and punches criminals needs to be as long as Braveheart. Or The Godfather, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, so I just have a lot of issues with this movie. There's nothing really that special about it. There's nothing that made me walk away being like, God damn, this movie kicks ass. Like, it's just like, all right, it's there. I still like barely can walk you through the plot beats anyway. It's like, okay, so like Bane is trying to finish up like Ra's al Ghul's plan, or I guess he's just like pussy whipped because of Talia, who wants to finish Ra's al Ghul's plan. But like Ra's, didn't he kick Bane out and like put him in the prison thing? Okay, sure. And then he like, what do they want to do? They're like trying to kind of corrupt Gotham, but don't they already, like, isn't the whole point that they think Gotham is already corrupt? I guess they like want to make them suffer and they're going to have them all kind of like turn evil, but then they've got this weird way of doing it by trying to convince everyone that like, no, it's actually based on like this kind of freedom libertarian thing, or that it's like some kind of revolutionary, French Revolution situation. They're going to like behead all the rich people who like, oppress them, but all of it doesn't matter because they're all just going to get blown up anyway. So like, what are we doing dicking around with this? And then it's like, oh, well, Homegirl is part of like this clean air initiative or clean water initiative thing. So like this weird like free energy machine is actually going to get turned into a nuke. But also like, then why isn't it just actually a nuke? Like, why did it have to be that? What's that all about? And then like his plan with like the guys who are trying to absorb like Wayne's company and then like the stock market, they're going to go to the stock exchange and they're going to like shut it down. It's like this is a fucking Batman movie. What in the fuck is going on? It's not only a Batman movie, it's a Batman movie with Bane involved. So that's what I mean. Like my issues with this movie have really nothing to do with the Joker situation. I just think this movie is very medium. I think, I don't know. I don't know what I kind of wanted from it, but I will say, I think Tom Hardy was a triumph. I think that they, you know, I don't know if I want to say they nailed the casting, but I do want to say that Tom brought it, and he like fucking knew the assignment, and he went for a really interesting, unique take on Bane, because I don't think Bane's a great character. You know, I didn't want him to be a guy wearing a luchador mask, you know, and I think he's one of the least interesting ones, and they found a way to make a not interesting character very interesting and cool to watch, and his weird, you know, vocal choices and stuff, like all that, I think is cool. I dig it. So that's like definitely the stuff that sticks with me, is like, you know, I remember most of the Bane dialogue, and aside from that, like it's like, I don't know, it's kind of a 3-hour mess. So when are you gonna edit phase 4 too? Adil Sheik, I think I answered your question, sir. Did you not hear my answer earlier? I can't believe no one watched the "Where's the Trigger" scene and thought it was ready to ship. Yeah, for sure, for sure. And like the ending that never ends. I mean, a lot of people who are making fun of it, like Pete Holmes, like he kind of, you know, he didn't have to even make fun of it that hard. It just kind of feels like, you know, that's what it kind of is. And like the ending also just feels very kind of, you know, convenient and a little cheap, to be honest. Like that's a harsh word, but it's like you Iron Giant him. You have him sacrifice himself. It's the third movie. Batman can't do this forever, and so with the last bit of, you know, Batman-ness left in his blood, he sacrifices himself to save Gotham from actual destruction. You know, there's nothing he could do that would have been more impactful than what he did. You know, he's literally, he Jesuses himself for Gotham. That's cool. But then it's like, no, actually, I'm fine. I'm actually, you know, you guys forgot. And also, I don't remember when it was established that he was like a computer whiz in these movies. In the comics, sure. But in these movies, it's like, Fox is kind of there for a reason, and it didn't seem like it made sense that Fox couldn't figure out the auto pilot system on the Batwing, but he could. Okay, you know, so he does that. But on top of that, it's like, I don't want him to, because I don't want him to survive. Like, I think, no, that's perfect. Like, it's poetic, it's beautiful. Let him die. That's cool, you know. And it's like, oh no, actually, he just survived, and we're fine. It's like, it's just little shit like that. I don't, you know, him and Catwoman got to live happily ever after. Like, okay, whatever, fine, sure. The clean slate's clean. All right. Did you say your RPG will use cards instead of dice? I did say that, Dave. Yeah, I'm super stoked about that. My big thing about the cards over dice, I mean, there's a million things going on with dice that cards, with cards that dice don't have. Generally speaking, they seem on face value like they do the same thing, but really the only ways to manipulate dice are to re-roll, modify like what you need to roll, plus up or down, and that's about it. Now with cards, it's like you can look at the top 3 of your deck and rearrange them. You could take some and put them on the bottom of your deck. You could take cards from your hand and actually put them on your deck and like swap or something, so you actually can stack it and know what is going to be there before you go to do another action. Like imagine you could cast a spell, and then the spell lets you, like, you know, look at 3 cards and put, you know, or draw 3 cards and then put, you know, 1 back on top of your deck. Then you can activate an ability that you need a high number for, and you've stacked your deck or something. Like, these are all things you can do with cards you can't do with dice. On top of that, what I also like is that dice never owe you anything. It's basically gambler's fallacy, where you know, every time you roll a d6, it doesn't, like, if you roll 5 6s, the next time you roll, it doesn't mean that you're less likely to roll a 6. But cards do owe you. The deck has so many, you know, cards, and you spend them. So what happens is there's a lot of, like, I think there will be a lot of fun kind of next layer, you know, in essence, card counting going on, where a player can make decisions based on what they think they're owed. It's like, well, I flipped a whole bunch of low numbers, you know, early on. I wasn't able, you know, I'm rolling poorly, but that means that they're out of my deck and they're in my discard pile. So now I want to go for this like Hail Mary move that's like really risky, but I'm banking on that I'm owed some high value cards. So that's like a factor I can work into it. That's not ever going to happen with dice. Vice versa, you may play more conservatively for a little while because you're like, oh, I was going hot, you know, in the early part, but now I've kind of spent out all those cards. I can calculate that I probably have most of my cards are below, you know, a value of 6. So I'm actually going to play a little bit more conservatively until I run out of cards, and then we can shuffle in, and then I'm back to kind of, you know, normal stats. So basically your percentiles are just moving up and down all the time, which I think is interesting as well. Then there's other just little corner case things of, like, you know, you can play in such a way, because this game, I have it where you're drawing cards. So for instance, like that's like how I'm also working on action economy. In D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, when you cast a spell, what they had to do to limit your spell casting capability was to limit where you had uses per day. It's like you can cast, you know, a level 4 spell once a day. What I'm going for is that the higher the level of the spell, the more expensive they are. And so you draw cards as well as flip them to like do your dice rolls. And you have to have enough value in your hand to discard and pay for the activation cost of a spell or an ability. So that's how I'm handling action economy, is that theoretically you could do it as many times as you want, but you're just not going to have enough resources to spend. So it's almost like having a mana pool that you can spend out. So yeah, that's kind of the game plan. Gotcha. Yeah, the structure of DKR is totally clunky. They have a great idea doing the Dickinson story, right? But to do that right, they needed it to be shorter and clearer, or longer and deeper, Netflix style show. You know what, Daniel Throne, I agree. If it was a show, I could buy that. Like if he had to, but it's also like there was 2 movies, so the transition then into like the 3rd movie, quote unquote, as a show probably would have been clunky. But I think you're right. I think that they should have hit it harder, like because right now, thinking back on it, it feels like, yeah, that line is an illusion and that line is an illusion to it, and I get this part and this part. If they had just kind of, I don't know, just really hit it, then maybe it would have come. I also think though, maybe that just wasn't the answer, you know, like maybe Batman just kind of needed to just be another Batman movie and just kind of cleanly knock it up, or I'm sorry, you know, like finish it up. That's what I mean. Like, it's just, maybe it was just too big, too many ideas at once. It's kind of Tenet syndrome to an extent. I'd argue that Bane's definitely the most dangerous Batman villain after Joker. Well, I wasn't arguing about how dangerous he is. I'm just saying I don't find him interesting. But somehow he got a reputation as being a big meathead instead of a literal genius. He was when he was first created. Yeah, that's true. Well, it's not just reputation. He's been portrayed that way too. You know, there's been depictions of him where he's more of a meathead. Obviously, like Batman, you know, and Robin is tough. Your editing is so good. Thank you, Adil. But if you didn't hear my answer earlier, what I was saying is that we just haven't watched them, so we can't edit them because we haven't watched them. It's up to Maple. I'm just waiting. You know, if Maple wants to watch them, then we'll watch them. All right, let's rewatch this earlier part here and then get back into this.
I'm glad we're watching this now. Because like, one of the things that I say all the time now, Alfred! When Batman catches on fire, and it's like, he doesn't have to be using his voice anymore, but he calls Alfred, help me! My favorite Batman line.
Cool. I am pretty happy with that.
My favorite Batman
line. But yeah, I think I don't know what else there is to, like, you know, I don't know. I think next person who does Batman, I honestly would like to see, since Chris Nolan, we've gotten a lot of like the real gritty kind of what if Batman took place in our world kind of thing. And it's cool. I like it. Trust me. Like, that's what got me into Batman. Not Nolan, but like graphic novels that were like that. But I think it's time to maybe get into a bit more of like a fantasy Batman again and start messing around with like Clayface and stuff like that, you know. It may be time for, and it doesn't mean it even has to have like a super Joel Schumacher-y kind of like vibe, but, you know, I don't know. I guess to an extent that's what the Justice League stuff is. It's just Batman feels like such a side character in that movie franchise.
I was his friend. And it will be a very long time before someone inspires us the way he did. I was his friend. It will be a very long time before someone inspires us the way he did. I believed in Harvey Dent.
He's a hero. He's a war hero. It's peacetime.
I believed in Harvey Dent.
The end.
Long time before someone inspires. That man is a freaking G.
What? Oh, you know what's funny? I didn't realize. I need to ask her if she noticed. I don't know if she did. I forgot she had already seen these movies, so like she would know Gary Oldman from these movies. Hey, did you recognize Gary Oldman from Leon the Professional, Stan the Bad Cop? He's also Commissioner Gordon in the Batman movies. And just like one of my favorite actors. I think he's just absolutely incredible. Incredible.
Long time before someone inspires.
What's going on? What is she saying? All right, here we go.
Long time before someone inspires. That man is a freaking G. Long time before someone inspires. Long time before someone inspires.
I got nothing. Was there like text on screen that I missed? Yeah, a new Batman movie is fantastic, but there's no room for villains like Mr. Freeze, Killer Croc. That's what I'm saying, right? Exactly, and his crazy gadgets. I agree. I'm with you. The realism is cool. It gets old, and I don't want to necessarily say it gets old because I don't necessarily even think like I don't want more of them, but it would maybe be nice to have like a mix, you know. But that's another thing. People have a hard time with like simultaneous franchises running. Like they have a hard time with like, okay, so we're gonna have at the same time like a real serious Batman and a real kind of, you know, like, and played by two different actors. People are like, oh, but, and I think the MCU is kind of to blame. I think the MCU makes everyone feel like everything has to be in like one shared universe, so you can't have like these different depictions simultaneously. She said a long time before someone will inspire. Oh, that's what she said.
Long time before someone inspires.
Right.
A man is a freaking G.
Who's that man, though? Does she mean him, I guess?
Ooh.
I believed in Harvey Dent.
I think I'm going to cut from there to that man as a G. So we can just have it that she's referencing Gordon.
That man is a freaking G.
And then Littlefinger. How much does the software cost? Because I'm a reactor myself, and I'm thinking about using this. King Ali Ghost. What's up, brother man? So there's a free version, but I've never used it. So I don't know like how. I know the functionality of the free version is great. The problem is that the what's it called? It doesn't allow you to use your GPU for rendering, which like you need to do. So it's kind of a non-starter to not use your GPU and try to do all of it on your CPU. So the studio version is like $450, I want to say. Maybe $350, but I want to say it was $450. I mean, let me look. DaVinci Resolve. But what I'll say is like I bought the camera. I think Blackmagic also they made both. I'm seeing studio for like $295 on B&H or whatever. So not too shabby, to be honest with you. I mean, you could have Premiere for, you know, half a year and pay that much. So this is like a one-time cost. But yeah, like I what do you call it? I bought their camera, and like the studio version came with their camera. So that was like what got me into kind of paying attention to this this editing software in the first place. And I really fell in love with it. I like functionality wise, I love it.
Ooh.
Dr. Pavel.
She means no one will inspire like Batman. Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah, she did like Batman.
Ooh.
Dr. Pavel. I'm CIA.
He wasn't alone.
You don't get to bring friends.
They're not my friends.
Don't worry. No choice for them.
And why would I want them?
They would. No choice for them.
And why would I want them?
They were trying to grab your prize. They work for the mercenary. The Masked Man.
Bane.
Get him on board. I'll call it in.
Cutting straight to this.
Get him on board. I'll call it in.
All right, let's do this.
Get him on board. I'll call it in.
I was telling her because, you know, obviously she had opinions on Bane's voice and his, like, understandability. And I was talking about how, like, when the first teaser came out, and it was like, before they, like, redubbed his voice, it was like, you've got this teaser. We all know how Batman talks. And then we have Gordon, who is injured and he can barely, like, breathe, so he's speaking, like, in this quiet whisper to Batman, who doesn't want to get caught, so he's speaking in the hospital in a quiet whisper. And then it's Bane, who's like, oh, what you're saying is the problem with the taco is that you don't have enough tomato sauce on it. You know? So it was, like, just impossible to tell what the fuck anyone is saying. It was, like, such a meme that, like, that's good, great, we're gonna have a movie, no one can hear anything. So at least they went and you know, fixed up one of the characters for the most part.
Flight plan on this level, the agency. This is me, my man, Dr. Pavel here. We're only one of you. Please let us on.
All right, so let's do this.
First one to talk.
Oh my god.
First one to talk. Gets to stay on my aircraft.
What a weird, like, angle he's at.
Gets to stay on my aircraft.
Adil, I keep trying to talk to you. I'm going to give you another chance before I assume that you're just a spam bot. AAD. Oh, there's two of you. Fascinating. There's one with an uppercase chic and one with a lowercase chic. I will address you both. It's not looking good for Operation Are You Not a Bot? Good sir, I write you earnestly to say that I have no ability to edit videos that have not been recorded as of this day. I lack entirely the powers of time travel. Have room for that? No, I don't. My condolences. All right. So, yeah. Maple will watch them when she wants to, and not a moment earlier. If you guys are looking for another great movie to react to, I'd suggest Wrath of Man, The Old Guard, Triple Frontier, Extraction, Peppermint, and Six Underground. A few movies are on Netflix. A lot of those are kind of not super interesting, just action movies. And if you check out our channel, a lot of those have not worked out so great because the girls just don't really dig them. You know, Ariana just got a bunch of crap for, like, John Wick 3 because it's one of those types of movies. They're not really, like, our channel, we're a bit more into, like, movies that are kind of more mentally, like, challenging. There's more kind of, like, plot and, like, subtext and stuff going on. So a lot of those movies are very kind of just, you know, pretty much every one of those are kind of just action films. So they're not, yeah, it's not super our type of shtick. But if those are working out for you, though, that's cool. I'm glad to hear that. It's always nice when you can kind of pick out a niche that works for you. All right, let's see what's going on here.
Stay on my aircraft.
All right, so we'll keep that like this.
Gets to stay on my aircraft. First one to talk gets to stay on my aircraft.
Okay. So I'll go from here to, like, a lot of loyalty.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh
CIA guy just assumes his trick will work because he guesses the prisoners won't just say, I'm still alive, by the way. Yeah, I think you're right. That is kind of funny, right? Wouldn't you think they would? He just kind of assumes. Also, just shoot people. You're the CIA. We're going to pretend like the CIA doesn't just shoot people? Like, why isn't he just shooting them? It's kind of weird, right? I agree.
Oh.
Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind, I think they would dig if they haven't seen it already. So I couldn't agree with you more. They would love that movie. So that's all right. So I'm glad you guys are here. All right. So Steve Duong is saying that I should watch Eternal Sunshine because the girls would like it, and King Ali is saying that we should watch Extraction because the girls would like it. So the problem that reactors deal with is that people want to watch you watch movies they like that you'll like. So you're right. If the girls would like, the Old Guard, starring, Charlize Theron, then the people who like that movie would be stoked to see them like it. But if Ariana was like, this movie's just kind of a dumb action film, it's not doing it for me, then all we would do is alienate those people. Then with Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind, the problem that we have is that there's no, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, the audience is too small. It's too niche. It's like my kind of movie, but I'm like a big fucking nerdy, movie buff. So for the average kind of audience, those movies tend to perform really poorly. So it's always this thread you're trying to, get through a needle of like, okay, it's got to be something that is, relatively mass appeal, but it also has to be something that the girls will like because nobody wants to watch people not like their favorite movies. So there's like this really, it's annoying and complicated in ways that I wish it wasn't. What's your favorite superhero from Marvel and DC? I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I don't really have one anymore. I just don't like superhero stuff anymore. I'm over it. I'm just like, I'm 34 years old. I just feel like it's just not for me. I just feel like they have not aged well with me.
Oh my gosh. Oh. He's not even flinching.
Who wants to try next? A lot of loyalty for a hired gun. A lot of loyalty for a hired gun.
Oh, Bob.
Fair enough. I've seen other reactors do it as well, so I was thinking it wouldn't be as niche anymore. Makes sense, though. Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, I have seen other reactors do it well, but generally it seems to be one of their lower performing things. And some of the reactors I've seen who've gotten okay numbers are reactors who just, like, they do better than us all the time. I mean, trust me, though, I would love to do that movie. It's, like, one of my favorites. It's really good. I think the girls would love it. It's the same thing. We've talked about doing Prisoners, and now I'm like, I don't know. I don't think it's going to do well. And the problem is, like, it takes too much time. For them to not do well. If we were like banging these out every day, then whatever, right? It would be like, oh, that's fine. We'll get another one. But generally speaking, the girls record some odd once a week. So that means that each of them are only putting out roughly 4 videos in a month. So it's like, do you risk having 25% of the content you made do poorly if you knew it was going to do poorly? You want to try to focus on every single one being a banger. But yeah, if the turnaround was way faster, if they were recording like twice a week or something, then I think you're right. We would be able to get away with having a lot more variety as far as like, not every movie had to be a banger. I can't get them to, commit to shooting that often is the problem. Fair enough. Yeah, I don't blame them. I watched a girl react to Pulp Fiction and she hated it. I never unsubbed quicker. That's exactly what I mean, Cosmo. That's exactly what I mean. Like, that's real. That's a real thing. So that's why, like, I'm not trying to. If I have them sit down in front of a movie I know they're not going to like, then I know I'm just what are we doing? We're just pissing off a bunch of people. Like, I have no interest in, like, making a video just to make people upset. So yeah, it's just I have to really work that out. I mean, that happened to me recently with movies I didn't want it to happen to. Like, Maple ended up hating Leon the Professional. I didn't expect that. I thought she was going to love it. Like, it's one of my favorite movies, right? So like, you miss even when you think you're doing it right. So I also can't afford to, on purpose, pick a movie that I know they're probably not going to like. You should watch some Bollywood movies. Yeah, I don't think so. I just don't think it's our shtick. I don't understand Bollywood movies. They've never really done it for me. So I wouldn't know how to sell it to the girls either. They're really weird. They're very different than, like, Hollywood movies. If you had the ability to teleport, where would you want to go? The moon. I just would teleport myself into non-existence. I hate this place. The law of reactions. Every reaction channel will eventually go through the WW2 movie gauntlet. You ain't wrong, brother man. You are not wrong.
She's wondering why someone would shoot a man before throwing him out of a plane.
I feel like that phrase is going to get me. Like, it's one of the most famous lines in the movie.
What an interesting voice.
I concur, Maple.
At least you can talk. Who are you?
It doesn't matter who we are.
Who we are.
What matters is our plan.
Oh, man.
Who are you?
It doesn't matter who we are.
Like, I'm not just tooting our horn because it's my channel, obviously. Like, I legit think Maple is a riot. Like, I don't know. I think they're good reactors, dude. I think Maple is funny, and I think Ariana is so she wears her emotions like so strongly on her sleeve. It's very clear like what she's feeling. So it's like, for me, it's always a matter of like just trying to pick movies I think will just elicit an extreme response. And Ariana like never fails to provide extreme responses, you know, when she feels them. So I don't know, man. I think they're great. I think we have really good reactors on this channel. So that's all I'm going to say. Have you seen any of Daniel Craig's James Bond's film? Yeah, I only saw the first one. Yeah.
Yeah, check it out. What does this guy look like?
Reminds me of a Family Guy. Peter Griffin watching Phantom of the Opera. He's like, "Show us your ugly face. Take off your mask. I want to see your face."
No one cared who I was till I put on the mask.
Word. Would hit way harder if he had a South American accent. Tom Hardy did a great job nonetheless. Oh, you think if he was a Hispanic origin or whatever you would call that, like he is with the... I mean, the problem is, though, like, I don't know. Like, is he a luchador, too? It's like, some of that stuff's kind of goofy. I like this voice he did. I thought it was very unique and interesting. But I have other issues. Like, He gets punched in the face at the end of the movie, and it's like he's like, my only weakness, the mask with the fucking respirator, that it looks very obviously like it may be the thing that's a problem for me. It's like, just like, Jesus Christ, man. Oh no, how did you know? Like, fucking, I wear this giant flashing red, like, don't hit me here please, you know, on my face. And then on top of that, because he could wear like a motorcycle helmet over it, problem solved. No one can get to it. But then the other problem is that Batman never thought to punch him in the face. Like, it's like, my only weakness, you punched me in the face. Who would have thought to punch me in the face? Like, God. So, yeah, no. Let's see. Aliska. I don't know why you guys are talking about Aliska, but she is cool. I think it's some Bane's Lions, but 100%. I enjoy your channel for that reason. I'm glad to hear. Yeah. Which is your favorite anime? My favorite anime is Trigun. How about something like Taken if they haven't already seen it? Mainstream appeal, but pretty keep you glued to the string action anticipation. I mean, I feel you, but again, I just think it's just dumb. That's the problem. It's just not very interesting. You know, that's why Sicario is like perfect, because it's kind of like an action film for people who are into the action part, but it's also like this really interesting kind of, if you go back and watch the reaction with her again, most of what she's reacting to that's really getting to her is all of the socio-political stuff going on between like the CIA versus Mexico, and the mystery angle of not understanding like what the mission is that they're involved in, and trying to figure out like what they want with her in the first place. Taken is like, guy takes, you know, people take my daughter, I shoot a million guys. You know what I'm saying? So like that's the difficulty. It's just kind of like there's nothing to like get into. It's just kind of like, yep, all right, old man proves to everybody that he still got it. It's just Death Wish. It's another Death Wish movie. You'll be receiving a shout out video from me on my reaction channel. It's called King Ollie Ghost Reacts. No, that's awesome, dude. I want to say I've seen you before. Have you been in the chat before? Your name sounds really familiar. King Ollie Ghost Reacts. Maybe not. But no, okay, no, probably not, because it looks like you're pretty new, man. 24 subs, but good on you, man. No, that's awesome. Congratulations, getting started. You have made it past the hardest part, which is just doing it, just getting into it. So good on you, man. I wish you the best of luck, dude. We started, really getting into the reaction thing about a year ago and some change. So yeah, dude, I wish you the best of luck, man. It can absolutely happen. Doesn't have to take that long. How about taking it to reaction? He got whopped in the face and starts making rabid raccoon noises. Exactly right. Exactly right. Yeah, the Bane weakness. Yeah, for sure. A lot of easy outs, but I still enjoyed the movie. I mean, I'm not, all right, so here's the deal. I'm not trying to say, like, the movie is absolutely, like, trash garbage. It's not like this is, The Room or something like that. It's just these are the issues I had and why it got in the way of me being like, oh, yeah, this movie fucking kicks ass. Because a lot of people were like, why aren't you guys, doing the next one? And it's like, because it's just not that good. Like, what's the point? All of this movie's sins tell a story of a movie that ultimately ends up just feeling kind of medium versus, it being terrible. I would almost prefer that it was terrible.
If I pull that off, will you die?
It would be extremely painful
You're a big guy.
for you.
What in the world?
Okay, she didn't have any reaction to that. I know people are going to want that line in the reaction, but that's like a line that she's not going to react to it. There's no point to have it.
Was getting caught part of your plan?
Of course.
All right, yeah, good to hear. Good to hear, King Ali. I'm proud of you, man. That sounded weird. I just mean I'm rooting for you. That's what I meant to say.
Your plan
All right, here we go.
was
The mask.
getting caught part of your plan?
Of course.
Of course. Sorry, I'm going to try my best not to fucking repeat everything he says. It's very easy to do. And everyone had to deal with that in 2012 for years. Okay.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Are people about to come out of that plane?
They are indeed. It's going to be like Air Force One, the movie, I think, if I recall.
Congratulations! You got yourself caught! Sir, now what's the next step of your master plan?
Crashing this plane.
Okay. Are people going to come out of this plane? Yes, they are going to. Get out of here. Got stuff to do, peace. All right, later. Ali. Is Dark Knight trilogy is overrated because I have not watched the Dark Knight movies. They're worth watching. I would watch them. Like, I would watch... I don't know. If you like Batman, the problem is I think that the one that is like genuinely worth watching is the middle one. So that's awkward. Like you can't skip the first one because this middle one references the first one all the time. And then once you've seen 2 or 3, it's like, well, fuck it. Might as well watch the third one. There's no more. So I say overall, yeah, give them a watch. Just at least you can be kind of caught up in the cultural thing going on. It would be hilarious if Bane said, burr, 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 and the CIA guy just goes, yeah, I mean, that's basically kind of what happens. All right, let's see. Crashing this plane. The guys get out of the plane. Okay, so I think I'll just cut back to this.
Plane.
This plane. I said I wasn't going to do it. It's really hard not to do, man. He just speaks in such a unique way that I heard was supposed to be like a traveler accent, like gypsies. Can anyone verify that?
With no survivors.
Whoa!
With no survivors.
Whoa!
But Tom Hardy is absolutely one of my favorite actors. You know, he had a very similar, I don't know if cadence is correct. I do think the cadence is a little similar, but he also has a weird vocal affect, that whole, like, I talk back in the back of my throat. He did a very similar thing as Alfie Solomons in Peaky Blinders, and that's like easily my favorite performance from him.
Oh!
With no survivors.
Whoa! Whoa!
I love his theme song. It's a great theme song.
Damn, like who are these? Damn, like who are these people?
Yeah, it really, yeah, it struggles trying to scrub after coming off of letting it play. It does that, and then we do this like, whoa. Master Wayne has Bane revealed his plan. Alfred, I have no fucking idea what he's saying. Yeah, exactly right. He could just say it out loud. No one would know anyway. It doesn't matter.
Whoa. Whoa. Oh my god. It's like a submarine now. No survivors? What about you, dude?
Okay, let's see. So what happens here? They go,
Whoa.
blah, whoa. And then we can cut straight from this to the plane. The stuff falls off of the plane. And then her saying her line.
Oh my god.
Here we go. We'll do this.
It's like a submarine now. No. No survivors? What about you, dude?
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, it's not like Michael Caine doesn't have a little bit of a goofy accent in that exchange as well. Like, this whole movie is defined by people in their kind of strange accents. I guess Anne Hathaway sounds normal.
Excuse me? Oh, what? Oh, what?
As far as like action scenes being good or bad, the first one's got some pretty rough action scenes, but I think they figured it out in the second one. Third one's got some questionable stuff. Again, like Batman fighting Bane just like open fist during the day at the end is not very good. But I would say that the big like, you know, I wanted to know what would break first, your body or your mind or whatever. Like that's an okay fight. Because again, most of the time what you need for a good fight scene is you need like story elements that make it matter. You need stuff like I don't know. You need like either the fight represents some kind of subtext, some themes, or the fight is important because like something diegetically happening in the plot matters that the fight needs to have like a big outcome for. But like, man, a lot of movies, man, sometimes the fights just feel like they're fighting to fight. So that first fight works because there's like an interesting kind of subtext thing happening of like, you know, Batman has learned some of the wrong lessons and it's worked against other people, but it won't work here. And like, what happens if he fights another member of the league, you know, and stuff like that.
Why? It's like Mad Max.
How funny. How funny. Did she know it was Tom Hardy already? I don't think I told her it was Tom Hardy, so that's really funny if she just happened to say that.
It's like Mad Max. The freaking blood bag.
That's so funny.
Oh, they expect one of us in the wreckage, brother.
Have we started the fire?
Yes, the fire rises.
Oh,
I'll cut to now's not the time for fear. That comes later.
Now is not the time for fear.
Yeah, choreographer's in there. The reason that the fighting is kind of whack in the first movie is because it uses all that like Jason Bourne style, like way too fast, quick cut editing, so you can't see what the hell's happening. It's not interesting if you can't see it. Don't have a problem with it. It should be a drag after a while. Let's see. So I was asking people, and I'll ask you guys too. Do any of you guys like what did I say? I said, what would you change about role-playing combat if you could? My buddy said nothing comes to mind. I don't really have a problem with it unless it's a large game. Then it could just be a drag after a while. So what I want to counter with is I agree. I feel like the loop just isn't very interesting. And if the combat could be a sub game that was genuinely just fun to do, then I think it would make the whole experience a lot better. Where right now I find the combat kind of like WoW, where mechanically it's meant more for brevity than fun, and I'd like to take it to Destiny, where they've figured out how to make the actual loop more fun to perform.
Now is not the time. Now is not the time for fear. That comes later.
dude. Wow. Dude. Wow. Just what? What? That is crazy. And then that he just like such a he's like, no, you're gonna die today, actually.
That day may not be our oldest public holiday, but we're here tonight because it's one of the most important. Harvey Dent's uncompromising stand against organized crime had made Gotham a safer place than it was at the time of his death 8 years ago. This city
Harvey
has seen a
Dent.
historic turnaround. Organized crime had made Gotham a safer place than it was at the time of his death 8 years ago. This city
Harvey
has seen a
Dent.
historic turnaround. Harvey Dent's uncompromising stand against organized crime. Harvey Dent's uncompromising stand against organized crime had made Gotham a safer place than it was at the time of his death. Harvey Dent's uncompromising stand had made at the time of his death 8 years ago. This city
Harvey Dent.
historic turnaround. his death 8 years ago. This city
Harvey Dent.
years ago. This city. This city.
Harvey Dent.
Historic turnaround. No city is without crime.
But this city is without organized crime because the Dent Act gave law enforcement teeth in its fight against the mob. Now, people are talking about repealing the Dent Act, and to them, I say, not on my watch.
Nobody wants a snack?
We're hosting this event on Tool. I'm sure he's with us in spirit. And now I'm going to give way to an important voice.
I like snacks.
Not news, but people put their faith in a murderous thug in a mask and a cape. A thug who showed his true nature.
Yeah, that
when he
thug.
was this man and murdered him in cold blood.
Make Batman look like the bad guy.
Jim Gordon, did he tell you the truth about
Anne Hathaway.
Why does she know Anne Hathaway?
Man, look like the bad.
She never knows anyone else, but she knows Anne Hathaway.
In cold blood.
Sweetheart.
Make Batman look like the bad guy.
Okay, so
And murdered him in cold blood.
let's think. Let's do.
Trust of this great. When he betrayed thug, mask and a cape. In a murderous. People put their faith in a. That
All right, here we go.
people put their faith in a murderous thug in a mask and a cape.
Is that new Batman movie with Robert Pattinson better than the Dark Knight trilogy? Well, it's again, the Dark Knight trilogy is not really a monolith. Like, different movies in the franchise are better and worse than each other, so it's hard to call it as a whole. It's good. It's hard because, like, the problem is it could have, and I think honestly it probably should have been better than the Dark Knight, but it ended up doing some things better than the Dark Knight, and the Dark Knight did some things better than it, so it's hard to say which one I think is, like, just straight up better. Dude, lots of stuff is iconic that she doesn't know.
Betrayed the trust of this great. Cold blood.
Sweetheart.
Make Batman look like the bad guy.
Jim Gordon.
Thank
can
you.
tell you the truth about Harvey. Truth about Harvey.
And
Truth about Harvey.
and Hathaway
Mr. Gordon.
should make all the other boy mooses go wah. Boy mooses go.
I'll tell you what she does have, though, is like an eidetic memory when it comes to memes. She knows every meme under the sun.
Wah. If there's one movie I've seen, it's The Princess Diaries.
Hey, there you go. She's seen Princess Diaries, so we know. Okay, fair enough.
If there's one movie I've seen, it's The Princess Diaries.
I think the Batman and Dark Knight have a very different feel. They do. Dark Knight is my favorite from the trilogy. Yeah, I think it's pretty much everyone's favorite from the trilogy. And I like the Batman too. Feels more like a normal crime drama thriller than a superhero movie. I mean, that's what I like about also, though, the Dark Knight as well, is it also felt, less like a superhero movie. It's there, but it feels less like it. I told you. Yeah, no, you were absolutely right. I think if you like 7, you'll like the Batman. Well, it absolutely was. You're right. It was certainly Matt Reeves being like, yeah, the Batman, will do, what if Batman was 7? The only problem is I wish it, I don't know, I wish it really went there. It did really pull its punches. And also, you're saying it didn't feel very superhero-y, but I kind of disagree. There is, most of my issues with it are things where they came across a little too superhero-y. Most of Catwoman's scenes feel like they remind you that you're watching a superhero movie with her terrible CG body jumping around doing spinning kicks and stuff like that.
Dude, I love him.
I have.
That's so funny. I love him. And she's not real. I guarantee she does not recognize that this is Stansfield from fucking Leon the Professional. It's so funny. Oh, that's so funny.
Speech. Telling the truth about Harvey Dent. Speech. Telling the truth about Harvey Dent.
a speech. Written a speech.
Telling the truth about Harvey Dent. Maybe the time isn't right. Maybe the time isn't right. Isn't right. Isn't right. Maybe the time isn't right. Maybe right now, all you need to know is that there are 1,000 inmates in Blackgate Prison as a direct result of the Dent Act. These are violent criminals, essential cogs in the organized crime machine.
You know, to be fair, though, I think I mostly kind of saw Gary Oldman as like an older man and a younger man. I think the only in-betweener movie I saw was Lost in Space, and that movie's kind of terrible. What did he look like in that? So, like, in my mind, Gary Oldman is either, you know, Stansfield, like, real young, or he's Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. Gary Oldman. Yep, this is like my in-betweener. I mean, Sirius Black is probably a bit of an in-betweener, but she's seen Harry Potter, so she would have seen him in that too, but she probably just doesn't put together this is all the same guy. So like I said, like mine is going to be like 2 Luc Besson movies, and then this hunk of shit, and then mostly movies where he's like a pretty advanced in age man. Is right. Oh, gotcha, yeah. Yeah, he's one of those characters that was born looking old. Yeah, that is absolutely true.
Maybe for now, well, I should say.
I'm just a cog in the organized crime machine.
There's nothing for nothing.
No, I would never do this. You know, I only had an accident. What is this figure?
Mr. Till, why are your people using the main staircase? And where's Mrs. Bolt?
She's at the first. Can I help?
The east drawing room. Unlock the door, put the tray on the table, lock the door again. Nothing more.
Nothing more.
I'm sorry, Mr. I tried, but he won't see you.
You know, you mustn't take it personally. Everyone knows that Wayne's holed up in there with 8-inch nails, peeing into mason jars. Sorry, get a little on the ground.
Wait a second.
Peeing into mason jars.
Wait a second. Oh, I'm an idiot, dude. Oh my goodness. All right. My sleep schedule's been fucked up lately. I'm crazy. Somehow I was my brain was like, wait, Bane killed him in the last movie. No, sir, that is this movie. It hasn't happened yet. That's so funny. My brain just absolutely was like, wait, this guy's already dead. What the hell? What's he doing here? No, he's not.
8-inch nails, peeing into.
Okay, none of this matters.
Sorry, get a little on the ground.
What?
Okay, here we go. Let's have
Door. Unlock the door. Room service. What? Unlock the door. It's like a bedroom with a whole entryway.
This movie really is like a spot the Inception actor.
Entryway.
Trying to talk to a man who threw away your investment. I said, save the world vanity project. You can't get your money back. I can.
I could try explaining that a Save the World project, thing or not, is worth investing in, Mr. Daggett. But you understand all the money and the power you think it buys. So why waste my time, indeed?
Second shift report, sir. You should...
That guy was really fun in what's it called? Killing Him Softly. Ben Mendelsohn, I believe is his name.
But you understand only money and the power you think it buys. So why waste my time, indeed?
Second shift report, sir. You should spend more time with the man. Oh, that's your department.
Hey, show him the crime stats. He goes by his gut, and it continues to bother him no matter what the numbers. Must be popular with his wife. Not really. She took the kids and...
Which is your favorite Batman? Christian Bale or Robert Pattinson? Ben Affleck? Man, honestly, kind of none of them. I don't think I've ever seen a Batman that I really believed. I mean, seriously, like, Conroy is, in my head, still what Batman is, like, supposed to be like, and none of the other ones are like that. So I just can't get with it, you know? Bale does the stupid voice, and is a little too preachy. And with the whole, like, you know, it's a city of people who believe in good. Like, I can't do all that. What's his face? Ben Affleck, he's got his moments in BVS, but he also has other moments that are pretty whack. Especially in, like, Justice League. If I could, like, cherry pick scenes from, like, BVS, then, yeah, maybe I could say Ben Affleck. And then Pattinson, I don't really love his Batman either, to be honest with you. I like the movie, but it's not really because of him. He was fine, but he just played it so emo. I don't really love, like, young emo Batman. He almost felt a little bit more like a Batman Beyond character than he did necessarily like actual Batman. Yeah, Adam West, yeah, that's the one, for sure. For sure. I think State of Grace was the first film I really noticed Oldman in. I don't even know that movie. Mendelsohn being super high and killing him softly is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Yeah, Mendelsohn was a treasure in that movie for sure.
Cleveland.
Dang.
Plenty of time for visits. The mayor's gonna dump him this, right? Really? Mm-hmm. He's a hero. It's just peacetime.
That's not what you're supposed to be doing. That's not what Alfred told you to do.
Second shift report, sir. You should spend more time with the man.
That's not what Alfred told you to do.
But you understand only money.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna. This movie's so long. I'm gonna cut it with
Just
a
like
friggin' machete. All right, let's see. So she goes, the door.
Unlock the door. That's not what Alfred told you to do.
Top 3 Nolan movies. Tenet, The Prestige, Inception. Christian Bale as a villain. Yeah, he's done that a couple of times.
Jeez.
I wonder if that was real because she's like so cool as a cucumber the rest of the movie in every other kind of like action oriented scene. I wonder if she's supposed to be playing here or if she's like really, you know, caught off guard. This is where we play Spot the CG arrow. It absolutely is going left to right, so it's not a practical effect. I'm going to go with CG arrow, which is also convenient that the arrow is black. Makes it easier to CGify it, which is the name of the process that we use with computers. It's called CGification. Look it up.
Jesus. Freaking criminy, mate. That scared me.
It is Mr. Wayne, isn't it?
It's good. Sean Penn, Ed Harris, worth a watch. Not that you have time, of course. I mean, yeah, but I am. Those are all good actors. I fuck with that. What's it called again? State of Grace. Yeah, I never even heard of this movie, State of Grace. I don't know, like, for sure, but if I had to guess, I've never heard of this movie in my life. I think I have to assume the first movie I saw Gary Oldman in is probably Fifth Element. The youngest I've ever seen him is probably Sid and Nancy. Is that Robin Wright? This looks like a West Side Story. When you're a jet. It's funny seeing certain actors like that, like so young. It's kind of like what's homie's name? Like Romper Stomper. Seeing little baby-faced Russell Crowe. It's always like, oh yeah, they were young at one point. What's weird now is like I saw this movie when I was like 19. I'm probably quite a bit older than he was in this movie, you know, at my age now. That's another weird one. All right, my teeth hurt. Why do my teeth hurt? That seems bad. I don't think they're supposed to do that.
It is Mr. Wayne, isn't it?
It is Mr. Wayne, isn't it?
Although you don't have the long nails or the facial scars, sir.
What did you say about me?
Just that no one ever sees you.
It's a beautiful necklace. Reminds me of one that belonged to my mother. It's a beautiful necklace. Reminds me of one that belonged to my mother. You can't. One that belonged to my mother.
You know, one thing that is difficult though with Chris Nolan, he likes to blast music over the whole movie. I always talk about how like there's a lot of directors who I really respect their restraint with music and not using it all the time to inform you how you're supposed to feel. Dude, Nolan is like, give me Hans Zimmer and I want music to play over every second of every film.
You can't be the same one because her pearls are in the safe. The same one because her pearls are in the safe. Are in the safe. In the safe.
Okay, that didn't work.
In the safe. The manufacturer clearly explained is uncrackable.
Her little oh god, it's so corny. Oh, that face change is so like Saturday morning cartoon, like, you know, just straight to DVD, like I'll drop the you got me, you rascally kids. If it wasn't for you goddamn kids and that fucking dog, I would have gotten away with it, you know, just that face of like, oh no. Well then, like, Jesus, man, that's such a fucking corny ass way to do that. Yeah, ruined Tenet for me. Watching theaters, no subtitles. Can't wait for them to make subtitles glasses. I know, right? Yeah, for sure.
Oops.
What?
Nobody told me it was uncrackable.
Even that music sting is so fucking corny. Do do do.
What?
Nobody told me it was uncrackable.
Tenet is my favorite Nolan movie as well, for sure. I'm a huge fan. I love that movie.
I'm afraid I can't let you take those.
Look, you wouldn't beat up a woman anyway. I would beat up a cripple. Of course, sometimes exceptions have to be made. Beat up a cripple. Any more than I would. You wouldn't beat up a woman any more than I would beat up a cripple. Of course, sometimes exceptions have to be made.
What?
She called him a cripple. That's rude.
Good night, Mr. Wayne.
What?
Oh, that wire foo was strong with this one. That's okay. Boom. Fix the thing over. Let's cut to Maple's reaction of that. Let's do a slow zoom in there.
Sometimes exceptions have to be made.
And then we just cut straight to her jumping out the window.
Good night, Mr. Wayne.
What gives away the wire foo so hard? All right, there's a couple weird things going on here. Okay, that's a weird painting he has. It looks like trash bags. What gives it away is that she falls really slowly, like really slowly. But good on her.
Good night, Mr. Wayne.
Doing her stunt.
What? What?
Even it's also Adam West. She like all she forgot to do is twirl her mustache.
You did not just steal his mom's pearls. That's a bad idea.
So rude. Batman's gonna beat you up.
Can I have a ride?
I wonder if she. I'm not crazy, right? This is Thomas Wayne from Joker. Yeah, it is.
Can I have a ride?
I forgot that guy's name. Yeah, Tenet definitely grows on you. If only they sorted the sound out. Well, to be fair, they kind of did. So I saw Tenet 3 times in theater. I loved it the first time I saw it. I was one of those psychos. So I saw it in the IMAX equivalent out here. There's like a competitor with IMAX that has like a almost IMAX. It's like smaller screen, better sound. So I saw it in that twice, and yeah, it's fucking hard to catch all the dialogue. But then I saw it in a normal like standard theater, and the dialogue was fine. I didn't have a problem hearing it at all. And I brought a friend, and he also didn't really have an issue either. So it seems like there was something wrong with like the IMAX audio tracks in particular. But yeah, good movie. Then I had some friends watch it at home who hadn't seen it, and I encouraged them. I had them watch it with subtitles, and that seemed to work out for them pretty well. Yeah, holy gymnast, Batman. I haven't rewatched it, so maybe experience would change, but Inception is still my favorite. Yeah. To be honest with you, though, Nolan as a whole, all of his stuff has, like, aged a little worse for me. Nothing is, like, bad yet, but I'm definitely, like, lessened. Like, there was a point in my life where he was, like, where I would regard now, like, the Coen brothers or Denis Villeneuve, and, like, now I can see, like, the difference between, like, a Villeneuve movie and a Nolan movie. It's like, okay, yeah, he's a little bit more kind of a... I don't need to get into it. It's whatever. But I still like him, but it's not like it used to be. He used to be like my favorite, you know.
You read my mind.
What? Let's go. Miss Kate was asking to see you again. She's very persistent. And quite lovely. In case you were wondering, was it? What are you doing?
Print dust, yeah, print dust. We've been robbed.
And this is your idea of sounding the alarm, is it?
She took the pearls, directly to the She, one of the maids. Why don't you just stop letting them inside the house?
Perhaps you should start learning to make your own bed. Why were you dusting for prints?
I wasn't. Jesus.
Sir, the Congressman Gilly's wife's been calling in. Apparently the Congressman never made it home after the...
That voice. This movie, it really is. It's like the entire Inception cast is here, including Cillian Murphy. Man, everyone's in this. It's so funny.
Sir.
Can I have a ride?
Sir, the Congressman Gilly's wife has been calling in. Apparently the Congressman never made it home after the Wayne Foundation event.
That's a job for the police.
When you and Dad cleaned up the streets, you cleaned them good. Pretty soon we'll be chasing down overdue library books.
Wait, so that's... She got in the car with...
Here you are.
Cool.
Wait, so...
All right. Copyright detected audio. Cillian Murphy's Nolan's guy. I mean, to be fair, it's like most of these cats are kind of Nolan's guy. They've all worked with him so many times. All right. Before I get another copyright strike, I don't know, man. I need to do some theory crafting. I need to do some theory crafting on how to get around, what do you call it? Like to do these. but without, the problem is like, I genuinely think it is a fool's errand to try to watch a stream like this where you can't like see or hear what I'm doing. That's like bonkers. So that can't be the answer. So I got to come up with some kind of median that doesn't bother the automatic sensors as much, but also doesn't like reduce the watchability any lower than it already is. So I don't know. Can you put temporary sound modulation on the movie audio? That can be undone. Yeah, I can. I've thought about that for sure. That was one of the options I was exploring. I think I tried doing that for like Sicario. But it's really the visual, I think, is the bigger problem, because I'm already doing sound modulation that I feel like works most of the time. Like, can't see it in here. I'd have to hop into the open in timeline and then check here. And so like already running it through like the equalizer this way, the EQ normally helps get around, but I could do something even more extreme for sure. You're right about that. So yeah, I'll try to test around some ideas. But it's, I don't know, it's crazy. Ariana's coming over relatively soon to record, so I'm gonna hop off, get some food and stuff, and after she's done, I'll probably hop back on and restart the stream, and I'll probably have what do you call it? No, I probably won't, because now I'm on the stupid sleep schedule. I forgot. I'll probably be freaking falling asleep at 7. I don't know. We'll see. But I'll come up with some kind of like, yeah, like you said, audio modulation, and then something I can do with the screen as well. That just doesn't make it like unwatchable. It's really frustrating though, because I don't think this should be having issues anyway. Like, if someone is like, haha, I've cheated the system. I got to watch The Dark Knight Rises for free by watching Chad edit it really slowly, and start and stop it constantly, and then go on rabbit trails talking about shit that's completely unrelated. Like, aha, I did it. I saved my $5. Like, come on, guys. So, I don't know, man. So weird. I thought it was okay when you ran the screen blocker and no sound. We could still see work and what you're doing. Yeah, I think I want the sound. I really want the sound. Like, even if it sounds shitty, at least you should be able to hear what is being said. Because I just think, like, if I'm not going to be... The problem is I can't really talk and edit at the exact same time. So for all the parts where I'm not talking and I'm just editing, the thing that keeps you being able to watch what's happening is that you're right there with me, engaged in like what's being said, and you're thinking probably about cuts I'm making or something, right? Like where you would cut. So if you can't do that, if you're just sitting there like, and I'm not doing anything, and you're just kind of watching a screen that you can't really tell what you're looking at, you can't hear anything, it's like just absolutely unwatchable. So I'll figure something out. I'll figure it out. Does white semi-transparent slash mark over the video work? Sometimes it seems like it does, but I gotta check again. Great, you said Sicario, so now I have to put Sicario on? Well, hey man, that's worthwhile. It's one of the best movies ever made. I think Zack Snyder can direct a great Batman movie with Ben Affleck because Zack Snyder's directing style and fight choreography are awesome. Oh, interesting. I think Zack Snyder is terrible, so, but if you like his style, then yeah, that probably would work for you. I've got the footy on the TV in the background anyway. Yeah, fair enough. That's fair. If everybody else was watching footy at the same time, then that would definitely, that would help for sure. Okay, well, I'm gonna get out of here and get some food and then come in here and try to fix this guy up. It's a long movie, so this will probably take me a little while. I'll try my best to get this thing out ASAP, but it's a lot of movie. So we'll see how it goes. But I love you guys, and I will catch you soon with a hopefully copyright proof version of the edit. But we got a copyright strike warning, and I'm like terrified of copyright strikes, so I'm trying to be extra on good behavior. So I'll catch you guys soon.